Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and today we are going to dissect the footage of Ninja that surfaced during the 14-hour live broadcast for the 1-year anniversary of A Realm Reborn. If you want to see that footage, check the description of the video below. Now, I was going to do this video yesterday, but since I had almost no voice, and as you can hear, I'm still recovering from it now, I had to wait until today. And in that time, someone on Reddit actually made this post with this image, basically explaining everything I was going to in this video. We are going to use this image in this video, so if you want to go give their original post some upvotes, go check the description of the video as well. So to start this off, this is what the Ninja's action bar looked like in the footage. Few things to note, it is void of any cross-class skills, so we're still up in the air about all that. However, most of the other stuff here gets used, except for a few skills. So first we're going to take a look at Ninja's basic combo, at least the only one we can see because of this footage. Most of these abilities probably come straight from Rogue and aren't from Ninja themselves, but regardless, we'll say it's for the Ninja. Their first combo is the opener in the top icon here, which applies what is most likely a damage over time skill and debuff. The other option is simply a damaging combo, which leads into two different finishers. Finisher 1 seems to cause some sort of unknown debuff, but to me it looks like a shield cut in half. It could probably be potentially some sort of weakness exposed, or as it says here, resistance down kind of ability, but we're really unsure of it right now. We just know that some sort of debuff is tied to this ability. The other finisher we don't get to see, but it lights up during his combo, so it's an additional finisher at least. That's all we know for now. Now, every job has that sort of bread and butter ability skills, damage over time, and sort of exposing things other than bard. Like, every job has that, so that's not really anything special. So let's look more at their cooldowns and their utility skills. So they have two throwing skills, it seems. One is just a basic range attack, and the other is actually just throwing a bunch of knives around themselves. So think of it like the Dragoon equivalent of them throwing their lances, and then, I don't know, I guess Ring of Thorns. Except Ring of Thorns is part of a combo, so that's a pretty bad comparison. But regardless, it seems they have a basic AoE knife throw skill for their AoE bread and butter, and they have a basic just damage from range kind of skill. They also seem to have a silence, which would mean that this is the first, I guess, reliable silence. Monk's not really too reliable. You can practice it and get it down, but most of the time you'll have a bard doing a silence. So looks like ninjas are going to be able to silence as well, which is good because bards are very, very relied on for that. So it's really good to have another option for that one. Very similar to Bard's Blunt Arrow. But they also have two high mobility moves, which of course is something you'd expect from ninjas. On top of them just having a passive that makes them run faster, I believe Yoshi P would say. One of these two abilities allows you to actually pick a location and jump to it, and you just appear there. That's just it. Think of it like Dragoon's Jump if you were to just pick a location to land and do no damage. That one's on a 60-second cooldown. They can also jump on the opponent's head. He does it from point blank range, so I don't know if it's actually a gap closer or not. More like Dragoon's Jump where they hit them and then they jump back to their initial location. But that one's also on a 60-second cooldown. He had some sort of backstab move also that he was on a longer cooldown. It's noted here as potentially a stealth move. I don't know if maybe he just wasn't in combat, but it didn't really seem to do anything special, so it just seemed to be a backstab kind of move. That's all we can really tell about it. It had some sort of long cooldown for it, though. But one of the most important abilities they have is actually about a 2-minute cooldown that resets their mudras, which we're going to talk about right now, actually. So based on the footage and, of course, this person's image, mudras operate as such. You have 3 individual mudra skills and an execute mudra skill. After activating the skills in the order you want, the execute skill will take on a different icon on your action bar to signify the results of your mudras. Upon pressing that button, you perform the mudra and all 4 of the skills go on cooldown, the 3 mudras themselves and the mudra execute ability. So here are some combinations shown off in the video. The first one is the failed combination. It seems to give you like a funny hat so everyone can laugh at your failure. That's a great skill to have. See somebody do that in a dungeon. The rest seem to be basic skills. Some of them are AoE, some of them burst damage. But the most important one here is the only triple mudra skill we see, which is the water spout, which was the only one of the bunch that gave this 5-second buff to the ninja. Now, this buff can actually be expended on one of 2 other abilities that share a 60-second cooldown. Both of the abilities share a 60-second cooldown, so every time you get this buff, you'll have to pick which one of those 2 skills you want to use in the moment. And it also means that being able to properly perform a 3 mudra execution at least once a minute will likely be optimal for your damage rotation. There are definitely other mudra skills than the ones seen here. As shown off in the Ninja trailer released a while back, there's an Ice Breath ability, and there also seems to be an ability that puts a giant AoE on the ground. I don't know if it's a buff. I don't know if it's a debuffing zone. It's just a giant AoE on the arena itself. So Ninja has quite a few abilities thus far, and at least a more unique way of making you work them into your rotation. This is definitely way different than most of the other jobs in the game right now. One thing we still aren't sure of is if you can perform mudras in between skills. I mean, for example, you're doing your basic combo of 3 skills. You know, every job pretty much in the game other than Bard and Black Mage have that, you know. And filling in one mudra between each skill. Can you do that? Can you just go like ability, mudra, ability, mudra, ability, mudra, execute mudra? I don't know. It may be possible since you can perform a mudra. Whenever you perform a mudra, I should say, you get a 5-second buff to execute it, but it's unsure that if it can be interrupted using other skills. Using mudras definitely doesn't break your normal combo according to the video, so we'll just have to wait and see if combos break your mudra combinations. Then they had a bunch of other skills that we didn't really get to see him use, which the creator of this image speculated on what they might be a bit here. He never used his stealth ability, so that's probably one of them. And he only ever applied a single damage over time skill, unless that shield cut in half was also a damage over time skill. But I would have to go back and watch the video and see how much damage he was doing with his damage over time during that. If the floating text was even on, actually. The floating text wasn't on, so we wouldn't even be able to see that. So I'm assuming some of these other skills may be things such as adding different kinds of poisons to your knives. I mean, Yoshi P stated that that would be possible, and the animation for doing so was actually shown off in the Ninja trailer itself. So I'm assuming at least 2 of those skills might be different applications of poisons to your knives. But other than that, I really enjoyed what I saw from this short little quote-unquote accidental teaser, as it always is when it comes to some sort of live event with Final Fantasy XIV. But I do have one gripe. So far, my only gripe with Ninja is that whenever you execute a mudra, the entire screen flashes with a Japanese symbol in the center, and honestly, it kind of hurts to look at. I can imagine that getting really, really annoying, even for people who don't have sort of issues with flashing objects. So I'm hoping they kind of tone back on those effects. I mean, things like that are usually taken very seriously in Japan, you know, the whole Porygon thing. Ever since that, animations that cause epilepsy or just flashing lights are very carefully, you know, handled in Japan. So I'm hoping that they tone back these effects, as I wouldn't want to have to turn off my own effects in order to get rid of these flashing symbols. So what do you guys think so far of the Ninja? Does it look like something that's going to interest you, or are you going to stick to what you're already doing, Monk, Black Mage, Summoner, whatever you might be doing? Are you just going to stick to that? Be sure to leave your comments below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And again, check out the footage if you haven't seen it. It is in the description of the video. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.